Good evening and welcome to Weekend News. I am Doreen Kalokoh. Coming up in this edition of Weekend News, President and Byelection receives an audience. The Assistant Minister of Defense of the Kingdom, Saudi Arabia at State House. National Electoral Commission declares SRPP and APC winners of parliamentary by-elections in constituencies 001 and 050 in the Kalokoh and Kalokoh district. And Ambassador of France to Sierra Leone and Guinea takes formal leave of President Kuma at State House. All those stories, including business and sport, lined up in this edition of Weekend News. President and Byelection has received an audience of the Assistant Minister of Defense of the Kingdom, Saudi Arabia at State House. President Kuma and team, led by the Saudi Arabia Assistant Defense Minister, held a closed-door meeting. We bring you highlights of the visit of the Assistant Minister of Defense of Saudi Arabia at State House.
Excellency Defense Minister of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it's a special visit. It's an honor to present himself.
For giving us the time, and I know we came very quickly, but the situation dictated that we want to meet with you and present to talk about the things that it's in a concern, for I'm sure for everybody else and you. Thanks again, and that we wish that we came in the time that it's right for nothing more currently.
Well, that was an highlight of the visit of the Assistant Minister of Defense of Saudi Arabia at State House. The National Electoral Commission has declared SLPP's Navo Kaikai winner of the parliamentary by-election in constituency 001 in the Kalokoh district. According to NEC, Madam Navo pulled 10,177 votes, which is 69.37% against APC's Aja Nasiratu Jallo with 4,493 votes, which is 30.63%. NEC reports that voter turnout was 15,257, which indicated that 48.74% voted out of a voter register of 31,306. Total number of valid votes cast is 14,683 and invalid 574 votes. Whilst in constituency 050 in the Kalokoh district, APC's Usman Karanke Conte emerged winner with 10,103 votes, which is 68.81% against Mohammed K. Mansari with 4,287 votes, which is 29.2%. SLPP's Alusan Bundu pulled 293 votes, which is 2% of total vote cast. Meanwhile, the chairperson of the National Elections Watch, Marcela Samba Sise has told SLBC that the elections were free, fair and peaceful, and that voter turnout was good. There was full security presence of both the military and police. She said that even though political big guns visited polling stations, but no party interference was visible. The ambassador of the Republic of France, accredited to the Republic of Sierra Leone and Guinea, has taken formal leave of President Kuma at State House. Here is the reports. Presenting the ambassador, the Minister of State 1, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mohamed Jibril Cissé, said he is honored to present His Excellency, the French ambassador who wants to take leave of the president as he has been posted to another country. He maintained that the ambassador, Bertrand Kotchery, has been a very good friend of Sierra Leone whilst he served as ambassador to the country. The Minister of State 1 added that France has done great things for Sierra Leone and is amongst the first countries to establish diplomatic relations with the country after independence. Mr. Cissé noted that France has been in Sierra Leone promoting business and providing security in the sub-region while strengthening bilateral relationships with the government and country. Taking formal leave of President Nkrumah, Ambassador Bertrand Kotchery expressed disappointment that this is one of his last week in the sub-region and that he is leaving Guinea and Sierra Leone for Congo-Brazzaville, which could be his next difficult posting. The ambassador expressed profound gratitude to His Excellency the President and to all the people that have been working with him in Sierra Leone for the confidence they gave him and the good relationship that they have built together and enhanced. He also particularly thanked President Nkrumah for the support he gave to the development of the economic business of France in Sierra Leone. The ambassador noted with satisfaction that during the outbreak of the Ebola, most of the French companies stayed in the country and pledged that they must come back to Sierra Leone as soon as possible, which they adhered to. This, he pointed out, was a good signal for the country, and today they have quite a number of French companies in Sierra Leone, which will give a new color of French people living in Sierra Leone with special capacity, knowledge, and a new way of doing things in the field of communication.
We have to work and work and work more closely together. From this point of view, when I will come back to Paris, I will pass a certain number of messages as a remember of my presence and experience here in Sierra Leone, to say that we must go on supporting all the efforts of Sierra Leone to work with the neighboring countries. I know the quality of the links you have with Mr. President Alpha Condé, and if we can go on supporting the Sierra Leone's armed forces, for instance, teaching of French, with cooperation, for instance, on the naval side, I think it would be very useful for the future. So, this being said, Mr. President, I don't want...
Bidding farewell to Ambassador Bertrand Kotchery, President Nkrumah said it is not the best of moment to say goodbye to an envoy, especially one that has served the country very well during his tour of duty as ambassador to the country. The president maintained that during his tenure, the two countries have enhanced their relationship, especially in the areas they are now paying emphasis, including the private sector engagement. He noted with optimism that they have increased the number of companies that are of French origin that are participating and are very productive to the country's economy. Citing the ambassador's remarks on the eve of his departure, President Nkrumah said he mentioned that just on the eve of his departure, the country will be having in Orange mobile telephone company, as big companies from France will be coming into the country to invest. The president told Ambassador Kotchery that as a government, they are looking forward to the commencement of the activities in the country, which shows a lot of collaborative efforts, manifesting the fact that the two countries have strengthened and enhanced their relationship. He added that the envoy was also in the country during the time the government and the nation were battling Ebola, which was quite a significant period in the history of the country, which Sierra Leoneans will never forget in a hurry. President Nkrumah pointed out that they will always remember those that helped them during the crisis of fighting Ebola, saying France was one of those countries
The president noted with appreciation that he is of the view that France did not only help Sierra Leone as a country, but the French government came in and approached the region. Thus, through their intervention and regional approach, the three countries were able to collaborate to take the fight at a regional level.
But, Mr. Ambassador, you said you're going to take messages when you go back. And I am happy that in doing that, you will be serving as Sierra Leone's ambassador to Paris and take the message of our great hope that we have not only enhanced, but we are looking forward to the days when we will go back to where the relationship was before the outbreak of the war. Before then, the French were very much involved in the private sector here. The French were more or less controlling our tourism in those days, and flights coming on a fortnightly basis in and out of the country. And most of the touristic villages we established along the peninsula were of French ownership. The St. Michael's, the Tokay, and you name them, and even the single bungalows that we are establishing. And in fact, it got to the point when, on the eve of the outbreak, we had here the president of Club Mediterranean. He was here. We had a big meeting at the Mamioko. Mamioko was then run by the French. You know, so there was a huge French presence.
The Muslim Television Ahmadiyya MTA and the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation have awarded certificates to 10 camera operators of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation and Star Television Network after completing a 4-day training program. The training capacitated camera operators to match up to digitalization process. Daphne Kema Macaulay sent us this report.
After a 4-day training of 10 camera operators, certificates were awarded to these participants for participating in training.
Johnny, William, Michael, Jackie.
The training is to capacitate the camera operators to match up to the digitalization process in broadcasting. During the 4-day training, participants embarked on a 5-minute documentary to show how best they can apply what they have learned.
I want to be with you. I know you were there for me. All you want in my life, can't take no chance. I want to be with you.
I've been here for 4 years now. I started in February 2012. My role here as a producer, a television producer, is to find issues of the day.
The acting Deputy Director General of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Samuel Valcase, says this is the beginning of the digitalization process of the SLBC and encourages trainees not to forget what they have learned.
To those you have been training over the past few days, we hope you will not forget what you have been told, because sometimes we know not long after the training is over, we either slouch or just go back to what we're used to. Remember that you have to keep these people impressed and encouraged.
Chief Kumabai Kagbo is the coordinator of the Muslim Television Ahmadiyya in Sierra Leone. He thanked the SLBC management for providing them the opportunity and explains that most of the work of the Muslim Television Ahmadiyya is being done by them.
Continued good working relationship with SLBC, and in future we will look at not only coming to train, but looking at how we can partner with SLBC to produce programs that will be beneficial to the people of Sierra Leone.
Trainer Mumin Bati says it is a privilege to train these camera operators as he has seen the passion in them to learn.
This past week, these past few days have been very rewarding for me as a trainer, and I hope so also for the students as well.
A participant, Johnny King, on behalf of the camera operators, thanked the SLBC management and the Muslim television Ahmadiyya in Sierra Leone for the opportunity and expressed the hope that more trainings will be organized for them and other SLBC staff.
On behalf of Star TV and SLBC staff present at this program or the training session, we appreciate your training and we pray it will not only stop here today. You will come back again next time to improve on
Some 100 women have been empowered with mini tables covered with umbrellas, 3 crates of assorted drinks, and some cash for icing to kickstart small-scale businesses in Freetown. The Sierra Leone Bottling Company and UN Women provided the empowerment for the first batch of women in for them to be self-reliant. Here is the reports.
According to the sales manager, George Musa, the project will cost over $150,000, beginning with the first phase. It says the company will use $50,000 for the first phase. The sales manager adds that the project intends to empower 5 million women all over the African continent by 2020, including 400 Sierra Leone women. He adds that they have given these women items in cash to start up their businesses in their own way, as they are most vulnerable in society.
100 women, and the second phase we are targeting now, we have started the verification exercise in up-country, where we are going to bring in the up-country women who we believe are much vulnerable than even the ones in Freetown. The second phase is going to be up-country. Then we have the third phase and the fourth phase before December, which are giving the 400 women the opportunity to start their business across the country.
The sales manager says the move by the Sierra Leone Bottling Company and the UN Women came together to support the women in doing business is for them to develop and be assisting their husband in the upkeep of their various homes. The beneficial women, we are very much appreciative for the gesture by the Sierra Leone Bottling Company and the UN Women for providing them with support free of cost with no string attached like other institutions do.
Well, I go handle them well. I go make sure say even when they say me say not for even dirty, the cool man not for even dirty. I go make sure say I go always take care of the cool man, take care of the umbrella where they give me, and even see map as a woman for like call storage and UN Women and name them stand.
Well, I'm not being the before, but through this training where they give me so, and they assure you say I don't get experience how to do this business.
Okay. The women organization 50/50 group of Sierra Leone started a 2-day biennial general meeting of its members at the British Council in Freetown. The meeting reviewed the group's constitution and elect new national executive, regional and district coordinators to run the affairs of the group for the next 2 years. The meeting also discussed efforts made to address the safety and empowerment of women and girls in the country. Nasruddin Kuma was there and he now reports.
Considering the level of violence offenses against women and girls in the country, the opening session focused on the efforts made to address the safety, the protection and empowerment in Sierra Leone generally. The Minister of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Sylvia Blyden, informs the gathering that Sierra Leone has gender laws and policies strong enough to address issues relating to the protection and empowerment of women and girls in the face of patriarchal gender inequalities and oppression. She reminds the audience that President Kuma has stated that violence against one woman is violence against the state, maintaining that Pillar 8 of the Agenda for Prosperity is on women. The Social Welfare Minister, however, notes the serious challenges in combating violence against women and girls in the society.
I have to lament that despite all the wonderful initiatives that I have just counted, which are supposed to address and respond to sexual and gender-based violence, we still have a considerably huge challenge as evidenced by the high prevalence rate. This has been largely attributed to the following: limited enforcement of the provisions of all the wonderful laws that I just recounted, limited understanding of the actual legislative measures within these laws, very weak capacity of the law enforcement agencies, including a rather limited presence of family support unit police personnel, and a limited ability of the courts to provide support for SGBV victims. There is also the aspect of limited support for the development of safe homes, medical, legal, and other psychosocial support, as a result of which some victims prefer to stay silent rather than go into a world unknown where they don't have the support that they require.
Talking on the topic, efforts made to address safety of women in Sierra Leone, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of crime services, Maury Lengo, informs women of new security measures and strategies to fast-track the dispensation of justice in order to combat crimes against women and girls, especially sexual and gender-based violence.
For sexual and gender-based violent offenses, including all offenses against children, we have a specially trained unit, the renowned Family Support Unit, or FSU, that works collaboratively with the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, and the Rainbow Centers to investigate these offenses. This unit is spread across the country and is located in 68 police posts, stations, and divisions for easy accessibility. The personnel are professionally trained, and with the support of our development partners, they are well positioned to conduct speedy investigation of SGBV cases.
The 50-50 Group is a civil society organization that envisions equal representation and participation of women and men in public life in Sierra Leone, political, cultural, socio-economic and traditional processes at all levels. The two-day session held at the British Council has a primary objective to review the organization's constitution and the election of a new national executive, regional and district coordinators to lead the group for another 2-year term.
The Special Advisor and Ambassador at Large has registered government commitments to ensure it addresses disaster risk, especially when country is presently in the rainy season. He was speaking during the handing over of bundles of zinc and bags of rice offered by the government to 5 towns that were affected by heavy downpour in May this year in the Cambia district. Here's the reports.
The team was headed by the Special Advisor to the President and Ambassador at Large, Alpha Khan, the President of the APC Youth League, by Mahmoud Bangura and his executive, the Minister of Tourism, Sidia Tunis, and the Member of Parliament for Constituency 42, made the offer to the affected residents by the rain. This gesture follows a series of engagements to ensure the people affected by the rains in Cambia get a boost from the government as a show of concern and commitment in addressing their plight at those trying times in their lives. The heavy storms destroyed their houses and properties, leaving of them challenged with shelters to dwell in. The president of the APC Youth League, by Mahmoud Bangura, says that they share the pain with the affected people as the downpour destroyed their properties. He adds that when they heard about the disaster, they swiftly set up a committee and immediately discussed with President Kurma, who wasted no time to provide zinc and bags of rice to the victims. The president of the APC Youth League informs them that the government is committed to address disaster issues, adding that as a community, they should be mindful of making their surroundings environment friendly. He reminds them that last year, hundreds of people were left homeless due to flooding, adding that the government in its utmost best is working hard to prevent such occurrence. Whilst the special advisor and ambassador at large, Alpha Khan, conveyed President Nkrumah's sympathy to the affected people by the heavy rains, he says that Gambia is dear to the heart of the government as they are dedicated supporters who have contributed towards the successes of the party. The ambassador at large stresses that this is why they have in return embarked on a series of developmental programs as a sign of gratitude to them. He appeals to the youth in the Gambia district to be vigilant and engage in activities that will progress them, as the president has many plans for young people, which they too should grab and help transform their lives. He wants them to refrain from idleness and violent activities as future leaders that will move the country to another level. Paramount Chief of the Gambia district, Shebura the Lion II, commended President Nkrumah and the delegation for their swift intervention to aid the affected residents. He says his people were very grateful of the development project taken to their district. The Paramount Chief commended the ambassador of Sierra Leone to China, Petito Nkrumah, and other indigenes of the Gambia district who quickly came to the aid of the people.
The Commissioner of the National Youth Commission, Anthony Nkrumah, has described networking and mentoring support clubs as a step forward in building values for girls' education to better their gender roles and responsibilities. He made the statement during the establishment of the networking and mentoring support clubs for secondary schools at the YWCA Hall. Here's the report.
The formation of the networking and mentoring support clubs is to provide a social interaction platform for young girls to deal with social issues under the supervision of a resource person. The National Youth Commission, in its drive to ensure young women and girls realize their potential, the mentoring and networking program will create a platform for young people to share ideas and experience and be able to better understand the values of education and be empowered to be able to make decisions of their own. The National Youth Commissioner, Anthony Nkrumah, spoke of his ministry's determination and commitment to create an opportunity for young girls to realize their dreams in life. He says that the training is to help them find their role in life. Mr. Nkrumah spoke about the Commission mandate, which is to help promote young people's skills, talent and creativity to help shape them for national development. The Commissioner urges that young girls should be focused and dedicated towards their studies, especially when the government has created a lot of opportunities with the required structures and institutions to address their plight. The Deputy Commissioner of the National Youth Commission, Aminata Silla, says that the networking and mentoring program for senior secondary school is designed to promote young girls that are in conflict with the law. It is meant for those in the formal sector and school pupils, aiming at creating an opportunity for them to have shared knowledge and have best experiences for a common goal. She encourages the students to make good use of the program and exchange ideas with their colleagues. A representative from STEM, Lilian Musa, spoke about the pressures that led to girls astray, which are how to look perfect, to impress everyone, caregivers, and social lives. She told the girls to take things one at a time and to be themselves in life. Lawyer Davis Christina Cole from Lawyers encourages the girls to dedicate their time towards their educational career in order to help them acquire education that will enable them complete their career for their safety at all times.
The executive chairperson of the Environment Protection Agency, Jatu Jallo, has warned residents of Freetown on the dangers to occur around disaster-prone areas. She said experts have predicted advised climate effects during this year's rainy season. We'll bring you highlights of a warning from the SRBC News.
Well, one thing I need to explain to the general public is that no government has control over climate change. No government in the world, even in the most developed societies where they have greater resources, capacity, logistics than we have in Sierra Leone. What governments do, we adapt and we mitigate against climate change. Yes, the change has to come from us, the people. We have, as a government, identified 30 disaster-prone areas. We have embarked on robust sensitization in all of these communities and asked people to voluntarily relocate. Even in the developed world, countries like America, when there is an impending disaster, what the government does is to advise people to leave their homes. And we have done that time and time again. Now, the question people will ask is, but where do you want us to go? We are saying that this must be a temporary measure. There are very few people in this country that don't have relations in the provinces or in other parts of Britain. For your own safety, not for your property, because property is important, but it's not as important as anybody's life. So we are appealing to people for their own safety to please leave these slum areas. It is just a matter of time. We have been saying this for the past 4 to 5 years. The political will to try and address this issue of climate change has been unwavering and is still unequivocal. ONS actually is the institution that is responsible for disaster. We will continue as an agency to complement their efforts. I know they have strategies in place, and I'm confident that they will be in a position to address this.
That was the executive chairperson of the Environment Protection Agency, Jatu Jallo, talking to News Hour about the climate effects during this year's rainy season. To end the news, we look at the main points again. President Kalokoh has received an audience. The Assistant Minister of Defense of the Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, and State House. The National Electoral Commission has declared SLPP and APC winners of parliamentary by-elections in constituencies 001 and 050 in the Kalokoh and Kalokoh districts. And Ambassador of France to Sierra Leone has taken former leave of President Kumar at State House. We're back in this edition of News Hour, broadcast live on the Civil Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. On behalf of my news editor, Brahman Saeed, news producer, Saranki Bayo, I am Doreen Kalokoh in Freetown. In case you missed all part of our programs, do send us an email to contact us at slbc.sl. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely evening. God bless you.